welcome and thank you for coming. We've got audio coming in from one source and video from another. We're all kinds of high tech here. So yeah, we'll go through our business really quickly, just because we're required to do that, I think, by law, but also because we like being transparent and getting everyone engaged in what's going on. Like I mentioned earlier, this is kind of a recap of our current board members, and because of where everyone was in their terms, thankfully everybody has agreed to re-engage for another year. So that's super excited. And I am super delighted to be able to work with all of these awesome people, in addition to seeking to engage some new members as well, so that our organization can keep growing and thriving. So in addition to myself, Megan, who is also here, Kate is not able to join us today, but it serves as our treasurer. I should note that Megan is our outgoing VP of program, or vice president in general, but also chair of our programming committee. And Kyle is our secretary and also heads up our communications committee and does a great job with all the newsletters that you all receive, and keeping everybody generally well informed. I also have Jamie Sharwood here, and Jamie is one of our directors at large, but also heads up our membership committee. And then Kelsey Watterson, who's on Zoom with us. And Kelsey was our Slatings chair for this year and also serves as a director at large. All right. I wanted to give a shout out to the ILOG members. ILOG was a special committee this year, which stood for the Indiana Local Arrangements Working Group. And that was in relation to the, that's awesome, in relation to the AEA conference that was held in Indianapolis this year. And I want to give a special shout out, obviously, to Jennifer Belleville, who's here today and was a big part of that committee. You can give her a round of applause. We can applaud for everybody, for sure. But I also want to give a shout out to Naomi Penny, who might be joining us a little bit later, who is going to be hopping on board and helping to do some of the programming stuff. So I'm really excited about that. She was a delight to work with for ILOG related reasons, and I think she'll be a good asset to our organization. Jennifer Taylor, who is a faculty member, I believe at IUPUI. I know we've got people kind of scattered around at all the different universities now, but I'm going to seek to get her more engaged as part of your membership committee, because she was really instrumental as part of our ILOG group, getting students engaged and faculty members engaged at universities around the state. So I'm really excited to be inviting Kelsey onto a committee as well. And lastly, Suzanne Leahy, and she is down in, I believe, the Evansville area, and is also going to be coming on board and serving as our local affiliates. What's the C stand for? Coordinators or local affiliates committee, or okay, yeah, the LAC group, which is another committee that AEA has, that all of the local affiliates like ours participate in and share programming and communicate. And so during our planning term for the AEA conference, she was serving in that capacity and has agreed to continue doing that, which I'm really excited about, because I think having consistent attendance and representation at that group will be really helpful for us as well, not only to share out what we're doing, but then also to mine it for information about what we can bring back to our local members here in Indiana. So that's really exciting. But I'll give a big shout out to all of the folks who worked really, like, it was a labor of love, and it was a kind of a mad dash to the finish line. And then we got to show off all of our awesomeness for really the whole world. It's the American Evaluation Association, but there were literally people here from all over the world. And so we got to really show off both Indianapolis and Indiana's awesomeness. And I've heard nothing but really wonderful, positive compliments and comments about their experiences. So kudos to everybody who was able to help out with that and attend. That was kind of a big deal for us. I wanted to give a general shout out, and Megan, like, I don't want to put you on the spot to talk about programming, but we did have a big year programming wise. And do you want to?
A big year.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just summarize what you've got up there, but obviously I think our biggest one was in January. We had a two-parter on designing dashboards. And so we had Tom and Shelley, who joined us for two different sessions, a beginner and a more advanced. In April, We were able to have a really interesting conversation around ChatGPT and artificial intelligence and how that's going to affect us as evaluators. In July, we got to kind of take a step back and start just doing some self-reflection on what each of us individually can work on in terms of the evaluation skills that AEA really tries to highlight. And then in October, all credit goes to iLog and to Jen for doing a fantastic job around the AEA conference, which gave the programming committee kind of the fall off, which is good because I think the first 3 took a lot out of us. But definitely a big year. Lots of registrants, lots of people attending. I think we managed to get some new members out of it as well. And also when we see Kate's financial report, I think we'll see that we were able to drum up a lot of resources for IEA. So it was a good year.
Thanks, Megan. And I guess we should have put December on here too, because here we are at another event. Technically,
I mean, technically,
no, I mean, like technically this counts for sure. So, and you can see kind of the numbers over there. Those are the registrant numbers. And for all of our events, like obviously, not everybody comes to the actual event. Sometimes extra people come though, so it all balances out in the end, but people can then access those recordings after the fact as well. So that's, I think, pretty impressive for a group our size to be having upwards of, several hundred people registering and attending some of those events. And they were not insignificant things to kind of collaborate and coordinate, especially when you're dealing with that many people trying to pop on for a Zoom and deal with all of the logistics, both in terms of getting people to the right place and helping them to have a really good experience. So I want to give a big shout out to Megan for awesome work on the programming front. All right. And then we get into the AEA part of things. I won't spend too long dwelling on this, but just to kind of show off some of the highlights of our efforts related to the conference. One of our first tasks, in addition to kind of forming ourselves as a committee, was to prep for the local guide. So really making sure that all attendees had lots of great information about how to make themselves at home and have the best time possible while they were here for the conference. We created both an online guide with interactive links, so a multi-page book that had information on where to go and what to do and what to eat, and lots of really, really great information, and all the links associated with all that information. So it was a really cool resource. And then also created a one-pager that was able to be handed out to attendees once they arrived at the conference, with just kind of tips and a little bit of a map to help them get around. The other kind of big thing, and I don't, Jennifer, you want to be on the spot for talking about some of the scholarship stuff, but we also, what's that?
Kelsey too.
Oh, Kelsey, yes. Yeah, Kelsey as well. If you want to unmute and I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer here. And if you guys want to tell us a little bit about scholarship recipients, I will let you do the honors on that front, so I don't have to be the one talking the whole time.
Kelsey, if you're in a space and you want to share anything, feel free to come off mute and share about scholarships if you'd like. And I will share a little bit as well. So so Kelsey and I got to work on a scholarship for the conference, which was really great. And Kelsey, go ahead, and I'm going to let you, whenever you're in a good space, I know you've got some co-attenders there with you.
Yeah, so go ahead, Jen. You can take point. I've got one that's not feeling good, so you can go right on ahead.
Sounds good. Okay, yeah. So we were thankful to be able to offer scholarships for the conference for individuals that wanted to come, but maybe didn't necessarily have the financial resources to be able to attend. We're super thankful. The Fullinger Foundation was incredibly generous and helpful, and IEA was incredibly generous to be able to have funding and resources to allow the scholarships to even happen. So participants applied and were awarded. We had kind of the list up there on the screen for like the students, and then we had 4 students and then 1 early career professional. And that's just a couple of pictures of the individuals were able to come, and we were able to cover a mix depending on what we asked like where their needs were. And so it was a mix of attending the conference, like conference registration, but then also if they were traveling from somewhere that was further away that would require them to stay at a hotel or to have transportation or kind of some food costs, we were able to do a mix of different financial support for them. And then I think will you talk a little bit about the lunch? Okay.
Yeah. And just as a point of clarification too, so the Follinger Foundation will talk a little bit more about their sponsorship. Technically, like they are not able to sponsor scholarships, so we used IEA funds to cover sponsorship or scholarships rather. But then because of their support for other programming that we did, including the luncheon, and we'll talk a little bit about that, we were able to kind of use our funds to help support the scholarship recipients. So we'll definitely give lots of shout outs to the Follinger Foundation here in just a minute as well. But we have the list up there. They were all mentioned in the newsletter as well, but we had students from Notre Dame, IU Bloomington, and IUPUI, as well as one early career professional. And I thought I had pictures of all of them. I was going to throw them up there, but I only had pictures of a couple folks. But there were some great quotes that we were able to shout around too. So it was a really, I think, meaningful experience for those individuals. And we were really happy that we were able to help support them and get to meet them and celebrate with them a little bit while they were attending the conference and all the cool things that they were saying about their experience as well. So just under $5,000 were awarded as funds to help make that possible for them to attend. So we were really excited about that. And then we also had kind of a welcome area that we did at the conference that was well utilized by attendees as well as ourselves as a place to kind of engage with people and answer questions that they had. We called it our pit stop, kind of leaning into one of the things that Indiana and Indianapolis are well known for. And then, like Jennifer mentioned, we had a really delightful luncheon at the Indiana State Museum. We had nearly 60 attendees at that event. We maxed out the room. So all things considered, I think that was a really successful event. And that was a really fun way for us to engage not only with people who were at the conference or had come into town for that from different parts of the state, but also who weren't able to attend for various reasons. So maybe pop in, just on a lunch break from work or that kind of thing. The other thing that I think was delightful about that is that we had like kind of retired evaluators who've been longtime members of our group who were able to join us, as well as some of our members from other states, which we'll talk a little bit about when we get to membership. We have not just members from Indiana, but members from other states, including a member from Alaska, and she was there. So it was awesome that our member from Alaska got to engage and be a part of that luncheon. And we do definitely thank the Follinger Foundation for their really generous support that helped to make that event possible, and that made it so that we were able to offer that to our members at no charge. So that was a really great kind of perk as well, to be able to entice people to come downtown for a little bit of lunch and networking. The other thing, well, there are a couple more things that the iLog did, just to kind of give you a flavor for it all. One of our members helped to coordinate an international attendee meetup. That was a lot of fun. And so when I say that there were literally people around the world, like there were literally people from all over the world. I think like just about every continent was represented. The person that is across the table from me was from a place called Kiribati or Kiribati. It's like, but if you've never heard of it, like you're not alone, because I had never heard of it. I had to go home and Google it. It is a teeny tiny little island in the Pacific. And it is the first place that the international dateline, so the first day of the year or moment of the year that's there, but it's a tiny island nation, and so that was just really neat to literally meet somebody from a place I had never heard of before, in addition to all the other great wonderful attendees from all over the world, and get to brag about our home state to them. We also were invited by the Arts and Culture TIG to help with their reception at the Indiana Repertory Theater, and we manned the name tag station and did monster name tags because it was Frankenstein. The play was what people were going to go and see. So we let people make their own little monster name tags as part of that event. It was on Friday the 13th. That is correct. Yep. And we were also engaged to help come up with some activities and facilitate networking during the affiliates breakfast. So other local affiliates like our own came together for that breakfast and were able to kind of talk about their experiences and needs. And again, we leaned into the Indianapolis 500 theme and had a 500 themed kind of brainstorming activity where you went around the room to the different corners where there were different questions, and we even got Post-its that were shaped like cars. So we were all in on that one. I think it was pretty well received. All right. All of that being said, I am now going to let you, Jamie, are you comfortable talking a little bit about membership and all the awesome things you've done this year to help get us those members?
I don't know that I've done anything awesome. I'm relatively new in this role, but really what drove, whenever we saw an uptick in membership, it was because of the programming. So we always had new people join as a result of the programming. So, so thank you. Good job. So we have 123 active members. There were some of the newer members after the AEA conference were students. So that was one, that was kind of, I think, attracted some students. One of the things that I've tried to do, and I'm going to continue to do, is offer an opportunity just for kind of networking with the new members just via Zoom. Like I've just set up, anytime there's like a batch of new members, I'll just set up a Zoom meeting, and it gives them a chance to meet one another, share feedback with me about why they joined, what they might be interested in. So that's something that I'll continue to do. But it's been really interesting, and they all, everyone seems to want opportunities to network, and we just need to find creative ways to do that. So
excellent. Well, I want to say that, like, for a long time, I know when I came in to the board or onto the board, I was like kind of overseeing membership, and my goal was to get it to 100. And I remember like every year it was kind of like we were like inching closer and closer. It's like, we can do it, guys. We can do it. We're going to get there. And like, we didn't just do it. We smashed it this year. So way to go, Jamie. Like, I feel in programming and all the things that contributed to that.
I think programming and the AEA conference contributed to that way more than me,
but we'll ride the wave. Let's
team member.
Yeah. So it's really exciting. And I think, as we look forward, I feel like if we do a good job of keeping people engaged, then that number is just going to keep growing as opposed to trickling back toward what it was pre-conference. So I'm excited. I think we are one of the larger affiliate groups. I don't think we are the largest, but I think we're kind of up there in terms of our membership and also our, kind of tenure and health as an organization. So we're excited about all of those things for sure. I'm going to give a shout out now. We should have sat in like, I feel like I can toss the phone to you, Kyle. Yeah. I'm going to pass that back over to you, Kyle, to talk awesome.
So thank you. Communications has been fun. We've I think gotten out at least a monthly newsletter. And I do appreciate all the folks helping submit ideas. And I now have a better idea of how to insert photos. So I've got that under control finally. I don't know if you've ever put newsletters together. Every system's different. And they're all head scratching, but I've figured ours out now. I can add photos, I think, consistently. We'll see. But that, that's going on and will continue. This mentions the AEA blog, the 365 blog that we take over, and I like to think pirate ships and all, but really it's not quite. It's a friendly takeover. I don't know if we ask them or they ask us, but it is a friendly opportunity. But it is kind of it's kind of fun. It's always, will we get enough people to sign up? And we always do, one way or another. And I think we'll keep encouraging that as people get used to it. We'll get more and more folks to do that. So I'm still thinking probably at least 1 week we'll do, and we'll figure out what week that'll be. So it's been, I think we've been doing okay with communication. So.
This week there were this year there were 2 weeks, and that was a little bit of a stretch, but yeah, at least 1 week. I think that was one of my questions to you all was like, do we want to do another week? And I think the beauty of the weeks that we do, it doesn't have to be themed or anything. It can really just be everybody's kind of passions, or, like whatever comes to mind is a thing you want to write about. So are we feeling engaged on that front?
Can we push for a week? It's only 7. We only need 7 contributions, but I think we can come up with that. And maybe we'll ask some of the usual suspects, but I think it's an opportunity as our membership grows. That is a chance for people to be able to talk about what they do and spread the word a little bit about great networking kind of thing for folks. So, I mean, I'll write one of them, but so if the rest of you are interested, if we're still interested in doing this next year, and if you don't want to, that's okay too, but I think it'd be kind of cool. So.
Yeah, I really like that we do it, because I feel like it's an opportunity to connect with members and just offer it
Mhm,
as, you know, we're gonna have this week,
mhm.
and to be able to reach out and just encourage, maybe, maybe 1 year isn't the right time for someone, but if they hear it a couple of times,
Mhm.
and, depending on where their projects are or how creative they're feeling, that's like, okay, I can do this idea.
It's
And I
not, yeah, it's not,
It's a really unique way to get the word out about IEA too, because I know that there are members in the American Evaluation Association that might live in Indiana, but maybe don't necessarily know about IEA. So I feel like being in the AEA space allows us to,
Yeah, I think that's
to like encourage people to connect.
I think an interesting AEA 365 blog contribution would be moving from the qualitative to the quantitative research and what it is like. Just keep in mind. They don't have to be real long, but it's just sort of an interesting thought that occurred to me.
Retiring?
So anyway,
like tapping into some of our students as well. And like,
Yeah.
because I'm always fascinated. I think one of the things that was really interesting about the PD session where people were kind of reflecting on their competencies, and we had done one before where it was kind of like the eras of evaluation and kind of reflecting on different periods of time and the different trends that were happening at those periods of time. Like there are new things happening, like there are really exciting new things. And I think that's one of the really cool things about being a part of this organization is that we're constantly learning new things through each other or having opportunities to connect and do PD that let us keep learning and growing. So I bet the students have lots of things that we can pick from their brains as well. All right. Okay, and then come to the fun financials, and a shout out to Kate for getting this updated for us. Things are looking really, really healthy here. She's got, it looks like she's broken it up through, revenue and expense. Okay, I didn't bring glasses, so this could be fun. I was like, I'm not gonna have to look at my screen. Little did I know. In any case, you can see kind of how things are broken out. So in terms of our revenue, event registration, which is that dark blue high slice on the chart on the left, is a big part of that. So the fact that we're able to pull in as much as we do through our event registrations is really, really great. You can also see the contribution from Follinger Foundation there in the red for the $2,500 that they donated this year. And they've been a long time contributor to the organization and really a big part of how I think we're able to provide the top-notch kind of programming that we do. And then the what's I going to say? The organizational memberships down here in green, as well as student memberships, which is a smaller slice of the pie there, but you can kind of see how our membership fees contribute into that as well. I think maybe one of the big takeaways is because we're able to leverage our programming and because we have great sponsorships, we can keep our membership rates really low. So we don't need those to be the lion's share of our annual budget. On the expense side, we do pay out a decent amount in terms of speaker fees. That's that red pie slice over on the chart on the right. And the big chunk this year was scholarships, but that's kind of an anomaly. I don't know that we would be able to effectively do that when there's travel involved. And one of the enticing things about it for this year was the fact that, we could get so many people to the conference because there weren't going to be airline flights or as many hotels involved. So that was one of the things we were really excited to do this year that we probably won't do again in the future unless we were lucky enough to get another conference here. You can also see just kind of general operational expenses, things like our Zoom account and our website services and all of that fun stuff, as well as things like insurance and general expenses for the various events that we do, along with some speaker honoraria. We don't always pay our speakers. Like, the cool thing about the event that we did this summer was that it was volunteers from within the organization. So we were able to offer that to attendees, and we didn't have to pay out a speaker honorarium. So that is our budgets. So we have a current balance as well. So I'm going to slide this over so we can see that, of just over $25,000. So we have a healthy budget, which is great, because I think that gives us the flexibility to really think as an organization, it's like how best to serve the population that we're seeking to serve. And that brings me again to another big shout out to the Fullinger Foundation for their $2,500 contribution this year. That was huge. We also had a few individual donors. So that's always something, if you wanted, in addition to becoming a member, if you want to contribute a little bit toward that, kind of pay it forward. We had a few people who had paid in a tiny amount, or not insignificant from an individual contribution standpoint, but as part of our donations for the AEA conference. So thanks to folks who are able to do that. And with that in mind, I'm going to stop our recording so that we can, feel free and nobody's on the spot for having networking comments, shared in perpetuity. But thank you for, if you were watching this at a later point, thanks for watching. That's what's going on. If you have questions, we're always open to fielding those. But thank you for being a part of IEA and for joining us today.